Alright, you guys. So, our broilers are on site now. They are about a week old, so in about 2.5 to 3 more weeks, they're going to need to go out onto pasture. And in order to do that, they're going to require a chicken tractor. And I would wait for Spence to come home to do this, but when he gets home, we have to build a horse shelter and we have to build a shop. So I figured I would try and take one thing off of his plate and attempt to build the chicken tractor myself. I've never built a chicken tractor before by myself, so this is going to be interesting. I'm going off of a picture of one of the ones that we built last year, and I helped build it, but all of the measurements are in Spence's brain, and I called and asked him what size it was, and he was like, don't worry about it. I'll do it when I get home. So 10 by 12, and yeah, Ruth and I are going to try and do this today by ourselves. So bear with us. So far things are off to a great start. Right, Mimi? What are you doing? And by saying things are off to a great start, what I mean is that, where'd you go? I already fell through a fence this morning and ripped my jeans and cut my legs. So we're gonna try not to do that anymore today, and we're gonna try and get this done. There you are. Okay, so here goes nothing. Spence could have done this a lot better than I did. Things are probably not as perfect, as square, as dignified as what they could be, but at the end of the day, are the chickens really going to care that much? Probably not. So I need to get a coat of stain on here yet, and I need to build the I guess you would call it like the door part over here. So that's what I was ripping these for. I'm out of 2x to do this, so I have to get resourceful, and hopefully this works for me. Okay guys, so we have built a few of these tractors before in the past, and they were about 3 feet high. And what we really found was that when it came time to pull broilers out for butcher, it was such a nightmare getting in there and crawling on our hands and knees. So yes, 4 feet is not perfect, but it works really well to go with this style. We have built so many chicken tractors over the years. Like this is our 5th year raising broilers, and we've definitely found some things about it that we really like as far as styles go, and some things that we absolutely hate. And the peaked roof for us was always causing us issues. They're heavier to move around, and they have a tendency to flip in the wind. So I know it's shocking, I know, but so we've gone with this like half roofed sort of addition where it gives the birds lots of space. These are 12 by 10. It gives the birds lots of space. We typically do 25 birds to a tractor, and this will get moved across fresh grass every single day. And they have half of it basically that is covered with tin. The Galvalume or Duraclad Galva loom is the color. It's just your typical galvanized steel is the way to go as far as reflecting heat. Today was 32 degrees and I touched this and it was cool. It was not like a cat on a hot tin roof. So color does matter. Typically speaking, we have always gone on Marketplace and tried to find used tin and recycle it. But the problem was that I couldn't find any within reasonable distance that it made sense. I did come across some that was the same color as our bright orange roof at $1 a square foot. So when I did the math on it, This sheet would have cost me $30 times 2, $60, plus the 45-minute trip one direction. Actually, it was closer to an hour because they were past the next town. So an hour one way and an hour back. I would have burned that extra $30 in fuel with the truck to be able to go and pick it up. So I opted to just go to the local hardware store and pay for 2 brand new pieces of metal that weren't poked full of holes as well. And I would have leaks. The goal is with these chicken tractors that we're building is to get more than 2 seasons out of them without requiring major like remodeling to them, I guess you could say. That's why I've decided to go with pressure treat on the bottom this time. Typically speaking, we've gone with just regular spruce number 2. In BC, they call this Highline. If it's Highline, I'd love to know what like the best quality is, because Highline is crookeder than crooked can be. Yeah, it's really hard to find good like 2x4s. Like I paid $5.35 a stick for this stuff, and it is tough picking through the pile. Like you feel guilty, but also too, you're paying good money for Highline lumber, so you want it to be straight. And like I swear, every single board I paid good money for is twisted in one way or fashion or another. And like we picked through a lot of lumber to find the good stuff, because I know for a fact that if it would have come home with shitty lumber and paid full price for it, my husband would have not been happy. So, and I also would not have been happy. So, that's kind of the story to this. So I'm sorry I didn't bring you guys along for the build earlier. It was a lot of mathing, a lot of like just janking around, and it was getting really frustrating, and it was super hot this evening. So the wind has picked up a little bit and it's finally starting to cool down. So I feel a little bit better. I've had some supper, so I feel a lot better mentally. So that's good. So I'm going to take you guys for a little bit of a dimensional walk here, just so that you can get an idea in case you do want to try this style out for yourself. You have to maybe play with it a little bit for what you need. Hi, honey. How are you doing? My nosy girl. But basically, these are 4 feet high. Each one of these posts that's going, and then we've got a 12-foot run here, a 10-foot run here. I cannot remember. I think these were 69 inches long. And then this piece that's in here, I want to say it was I think it was 117 inches to fit in between, because this top plate is also 10 long. And then I don't know what these are. I literally was just using end scraps and 45ing them. So I had limited leftover junk lumber left. What else? The front part, it is really hard working with long lumber if you don't have a second person to like help like stabilize things, and when you're working on unlevel ground. So the front door opening, I wanted this to be wide enough that we could get our largest chicken crate through there, because that is one pet peeve that I noticed when we had our other chicken tractors, is that the door was like, it was more narrow, a smaller opening, so we always had to turn the crates sideways to get them in, and they're really tippy. Like once they're full of birds, you have to have somebody on the inside and somebody on the outside. So I would prefer to be able to, because this door drops all the way down flat, so I would prefer to be able to come like walk straight over top of that myself, carrying a crate of birds, instead of having that like tippiness, and then the birds, like their claws like fall through the bottom, and then they get like nicked and stuff like that. And I'm just like all about transporting the birds for slaughter as humanely and like like stressful as possible, because I do believe that it affects the quality of the meat. So we're always like so careful when we're loading our birds and like stacking them and stuff like that. Like we don't put them in the truck or the trailer until we've got everybody crated up and they're ready to go, so that they're like sitting on soft ground and they have like good airflow movement all around them. And typically speaking, we usually catch birds around like well, it used to be 2:30 to 4 o'clock in the morning because we had to travel a far distance for our butcher. And then it got better last year. We only had to catch them about 5 o'clock in the morning. We would start catching because we had to be there for 7 and we only had an hour drive. And now I think we're going to be back to catching birds probably somewhere around like the 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning sort of situation. So I am going to throw a coat of like a stain protectant on this wood so that it lasts as long as possible. I'm thinking I'm probably just going to end up doing what I've been using for the fence boards, which is just it's a hybrid acrylic stain. It seems to be like really good on any raw wood that I've used it on so far, and I'll probably just water it down a little bit so that I'm not using an absolute ton of it, because it's not on sale right now and it's about $65 a cat regular price. So I bought it on sale when it was like $33. And I want to stretch it as far as possible. So that's the plan. All of the screws that were in there are 3-inch screws. I shouldn't say all. Some of them are 3.5. I wish that they were all 3, but I was using 3.5. And then I was like out of those. So I went to the hardware store and I got 3s because the 3.5s are poking through in a few spots. And then as far as the poultry wire goes, if I had 47-inch or 52-inch tall poultry wire, I would be using that. And then this is that hardware cloth that is the, like, I think it's 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch squares, and that is really good. So I think because I don't have enough for like a 4-foot full run to wrap, what I'll do is I'll put the hardware cloth along the bottom most of the way around, and then I'll do the chicken wire on the top, just so that the bottom has that most rigidity to it, where any critters that are going to try and get after our birds are going to be putting the most pressure on it. And then also a reason why I wanted to go the 4-foot length on this was because we did have the peaked style primarily for the turkeys. They do require that head space, so going to this 4-foot tall space as well is allowing us to utilize this for turkeys. And this is going to be like a trial run season on this tractor because we only have 25 broilers this year. So we'll try this tractor out, see how we like it, see how it pulls with the Johnny. I got to put some skis on the front end yet. And unfortunately, I thought that we still had some of our puck board, but I guess we must have left it back at our last farm. And I'm kind of really disappointed about it because we always used to put puck board underneath of those 2x that we would put on for skis, and it just kind of helped things slide a little bit easier. But c'est la vie, it is what it is. So yeah, that's kind of where things are at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tin on, I think, and just kind of see like how things are looking as far as that goes, so that I can figure out what my spacing needs to be, and if I require any additional supports in here to put the opening lid portion on it, just because I've measured this out to be 72 here. Each of these is 36 inches. That's what the Galvalume is. So my lip should be ending here for both of these guys. So I'm figuring that I'm probably going to need to run an extra couple of 2x4s in here to perhaps support this door that I'm going to put here, and then figure out some more hinges. We had some hinges that I could use for there, and I'm short one hinge to be able to do this the way that I want to. We have some bigger hinges that we bought for a gate that I might use. We'll see what I can come up with, so stay tuned. Okay friends, so that's a wrap on night 1. I got a little bit occupied on the FaceTime with the husband, so I didn't quite get a few things done this evening. So I'll finish up this roof part, the lid, tomorrow. I did secure the tin, and I need to put some corner cross braces in both front corners and the back corners. So that's also something that I'm gonna have to work on tomorrow evening, so that this thing will be ready to go. And then so corner braces and then the skis before I can start putting up the chicken wire. So a little bit at a time. We're getting her done. We're getting her done. And some puppy dogs that are ready to come inside, hey? So I thought of this like super cheeky saying today while I was building all of this, because I could not find my tape measure, and I was like fairly certain that it was out here, but I wasn't seeing it anywhere. It's also the same color as the DeWalt battery, so I think just the angle it was laying at, I thought it was my spare battery. And then I walked in the house and I saw the same color tape measure sitting on the table, and I was like, oh yeah, that's where it's been this whole time. Must have brought it in here and forgot about it. So here's my cheeky saying about tape measures. You need one to lose, and you need one to use. Every construction site requires 2 tape measures per person, occasionally a third. But my experience has dictated today, and also anytime when Spence and I do projects together, is that you need one to use and one to lose. And I like this tape measure that we bought last year. It's just a cheap like hardware store Castle version, but I like it. I like the size of the tape, and I like just everything about it. I like that it has, you know, I'd be okay if it was like 50 foot, but you know, 25 feet is good enough for me. And maybe the reason that I like it is because this Stanley has been so used and abused that it is really getting hard to read the first chunks of dimensions, the first couple of inches that are on there. But like, this thing has been used so much. We have a white one too. White, it's like white in the background. I prefer the yellow. I don't know. I just prefer the yellow, but like she's seen her fair share of projects. So this is my one to use, my one to lose, I mean, and this one is my one to use. So there you have it. I hope that helps you out in all your future projects. 2 tape measures. Good morning. It was a very late night. I'm very tired. But I'm hoping today is the day that we can get this framing finished. It's cold. That's why I'm wearing a toque. My hair is wet. And I don't want to get sick. So that's that. We have this top lid part to build out yet, and once I finish that, then I'll be able to start staining this, so stay tuned. Day 2. So have all the chicken wire on. Ended up having chicken wire that was tall enough that I could stretch it so that it covered the full space, and then got the door entryway completed, the lid built, and then we usually just jack each corner when we're going in. Unfortunately, ran out of hardware cloth. I'm 1 sheet shy, and everything is closed tomorrow because it's a holiday. Excuse the disgusting stain job. I tried to water down my stain and make it stretch, so I didn't have to go back to town and get more again. So I ended up with some drip runs going, but the name of the game was to protect it, and I think that's what we did. I also like the fact that there's a little bit of a overhang lip on the back this time. Previous ones, we've always been kind of a little bit short, so I'm glad that that worked out like that. I do need to clean the edge of the tin up a little bit from the stain too, but so far we're looking good. And yeah, skis are on, so just need to drill some holes in the end to put a rope through and get that hardware cloth, and then it's ready for pasture. And I'm so freaking excited that this project is done. I'm really proud of myself. This was a lot of work, doing this by myself and like maneuvering on uneven ground with large pieces of lumber. It's not my forte, but we did it. Conquered. All right, guys, this is it. She's officially ready for pasture. We've got an old 3,500-pound ratchet strap that was no good for towing anymore, or towing, sorry, strapping things down anymore, used for there. And the lid is now complete. Unfortunately, the hardware store did not have a 4-foot run, just a 2-foot run in 10-foot lengths. So I needed 2 pieces there, but joined with an overhang, and everything's buttoned up with some tie wire. And there's some horses that always think they need snacks. And the skis are complete, and she's ready to go to pasture. So as soon as our little birdies are all feathered out, they will be living in here until they go to freezer camp. So thanks for coming along for the build, guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully the comment section's not too hard on me for this one, but I think that it gets 2 thumbs up. There's 1 and there's 2. So thanks for following along, and hope you guys enjoyed the build, and hopefully it inspires you to tackle a project like this yourself.